The Cleveland Browns have made Jameis Winston QB1 for now, but it should only be the beginning of what should be some wholesale changes for the Cleveland Browns within their offensive and defensive units. We'll talk about it. Your latest Locked On Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound, LGB, and the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. The everyday crowd keeps growing. Everybody jump on in. The water's warm. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. Become an everydayer for yourself. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So I guess your top news right now currently for the Cleveland Browns is it will be Jameis Winston Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. I know there's a lot of questions as to why DTR was elevated Saturday, which we didn't find out until Sunday, to quarterback 2, which meant Jameis was going to be the emergency quarterback last Sunday. Jameis ended up finishing the game through the touchdown to David Njoku, the 2-point conversion. Obviously, you all know the rest. I think the thing, and this is kind of, I reached out a little bit last night, DTR, they don't know what to expect when practice begins on Wednesday. So we're actually recording this before that. So they're not sure. Apparently, DTR will be wearing a splint when he's not on the football field. Most likely can have the fingers taped together while he is on the football field. So the Browns, as far as not starting DTR right now, this is more of trying to not to put the young man in a bad situation. If we all remember last year's first NFL start also occurred against the Baltimore Ravens. And that was a very strange scenario, the way it all went down. If you remember, Deshaun went out there that Sunday morning. Deshaun just couldn't get it going. And unfortunately, Deshaun did not go that day, which meant all of a sudden at about, I guess it was, at the time, before, the ins and outs actives had been released at 11:30. It was just all of a sudden, oh, hey, Dorian, you got it today. You're a starter. So they certainly don't want to put Dorian in a poor situation. Want to let that hand heal up a little bit before they probably make the change and get the evaluation going on DTR. Numerous players who shall be evaluated deeply here over the remaining 11 weeks, 10 games. So Jameis will be the starter Sunday against Baltimore. And I know I've talked about it here, and I know I've talked about it in other guest appearances I have done. The issue you have, which I think can help this offense with Jameis being the quarterback as opposed to Deshaun Watson. Jameis has got no intention of trying to run. Jameis Winston's legs have never, ever been the strength of his game. Just the one facet in being a great athlete, whether it was a baseball player, football player in Jameis Winston's past, he was never a guy who, had wheels. Never a guy, who ran very well in this modern day age where all these quarterbacks are tremendous athletes. That was not necessarily the case with Jameis as far as, being a guy who can run. Jameis can take a beating. He's always been able to take a beating. He's a physically bigger guy than Deshaun Watson, a little bit taller, much thicker. Jameis, and I think the city's kind of fallen in love with Jameis a little bit. His comments last Sunday notwithstanding, got a personality. He is definitely a leader. He was a leader in Tampa. He was a leader in New Orleans when he was never even considered to be the starting quarterback. He started, but was never the starter in New Orleans. Jameis talks, people listen. So he will get his opportunity this week. And we'll see how it plays out. It is the Baltimore Ravens of, all teams, and God knows how good they looked Monday night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, others also have been asking, what was the thought process in putting DTR as number 2 for last Sunday? As you saw, there were some things that were kind of designed for DTR with his legs, which are a great asset, unlike Jameis, unlike even Deshaun. DTR is a really good runner of the football. So that was something that we saw play out in the game Sunday, certainly against the Bengals. The Jameis Winston being quarterback 2 and just coming in for QB sneaks, etc., that had already gotten played out rather quickly. So, it certainly, was not something they, needed to continue with. And I think once they tried to run the jet sweep with Cedric Tillman in Philadelphia, you kind of saw all you needed to see. It didn't even have a run as successful as Jacoby Brissett, doing the, QB sneaks in his time. So you've, quickly, moved on from that. So, the point is, I feel Sunday when they were playing against the Bengals, they had realized, look, we haven't played any division games yet. At the time, the Browns were only 1-5. So I think that maybe gave them a chance where they thought they could use DTR and his athleticism to help them maybe steal a ball game Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. Unfortunately, Deshaun goes down in the second quarter. It's over for Deshaun. The season was over for Deshaun right then and there, which had DTR playing the rest of the game. And look, there was some erraticness to it. I still thought, he looked what you would expect for a guy, and a lot of people, he didn't get a lot of time to get ready. No, quarterback 2 is not going to get a lot of time to ready. It doesn't matter who quarterback 2 is. Whoever is the second string quarterback, he is not going to get a lot of time to prepare. It's just the way it goes. NFL practices are extremely limited. You want to stay after and throw some more, that's fine. Find some staffers. Hopefully you have some close friends on the team who will be willing to commit their own time to stay with you. But that's where a quarterback 2 is going to get his work and, get more work in. So I do believe it was, yes, the timing of it was odd, but I think that maybe they saw, a couple of times during practice, where they thought maybe that DTR and a couple of those runs that they, thought would help. And they did. Obviously, it just came within the designed part of the offense when DTR actually did go into the game. So it'll be Jameis this week. And I do obviously believe that Jameis, I'm not going to see it gives him a strong chance to win. But I think at this point, even the offensive players, although they will not say it publicly, they're ready to try something else. They're ready to see something else. So Jameis will go out there. He'll be working certainly with Cedric Tillman, certainly with Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, obviously, who caught the touchdown pass from last week. You're going to get Nick Chubb, hopefully a little bit more in the fold. I am wondering and, hoping to hear that maybe Naheem Hines could be a factor this week for them. I really think he could bring a great presence to this team as a receiver out of the backfield. So no DTR as of yet, but mostly done from the premise of letting that hand heal. Jameis Winston, QB1 for Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. There should be a lot more changes coming, and we're going to talk about that as we continue. Everybody, stick around. It's been a while since I've been in an arena for an NBA game, but I can tell you, I went back to back-to-back NBA finals with the New Jersey Nets in their times where they lost to the Los Angeles Lakers and they lost to the San Antonio Spurs. Just a buzz inside the building. And look, we're underway. The NBA is back. So if you want to get in, you want to see the players, the athletes, the celebrities, you should check out Game Time. You should check out Game Time Picks. It filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks, the curation, it makes it easier so you can save money and save more on whether it's sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. They have the all-in pricing. You just toggle this feature so it shows the total up front. So as you go from screen to screen to screen, all of a sudden what you thought was a great deal, in hindsight, probably wasn't. You get a great panoramic view from the seat in the app before you buy, so you have an idea exactly what you're looking for. Do you want to see post play? Do you want to be somewhere near mid-court to watch the fast breaks? You want to know all this so you can make an educated decision to buy yourself a great seat. The lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Game Time's ticket coverage has you covered. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and millions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. I've talked about it before, whether it's Thursday night, whether it's Sunday night, whether it's the Monday night games. There's only one game on. You're not bebopping around, checking out the scores. Your focus is on one game. I love putting together a lineup, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. It really, really increases my interest in the game. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks puts its members first. So all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts, like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Just think, Justin Jefferson, will he get more than 83.5 yards next week? Will you get another amazing outing from Derrick Henry, 91.5 over yards? Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going to go off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds to turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Just go to the app and download Prize Picks and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Your latest Locked On Browns continues. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate you all for making the show your first listen every single day. The everyday crowd just keeps to grow and grow and grow and grow, even in these bad times, and I am appreciative. Make sure you're an everydayer. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It's always free wherever you get your podcasts. Now, talking about Jameis Winston taking over at QB1, but this should be the beginning of a litany of moves the Browns should seriously, highly consider, and as soon as this Sunday against the Ravens. Now, a lot of talk about possibly trading Zadarius Smith, which I totally understand. And in my opinion, totally, absolutely makes sense. You've already seen there was one big trade in the NFL today. Kansas City Chiefs just seem to have everything fall into their lap, and they get something like DeAndre Nuke Hopkins goes to Kansas City for a lovely stretch run for the Chiefs. Now, so for Zadarius Smith, several teams interested, possibly a reunion with the Baltimore Ravens, which maybe mean a trade this week would not be in the cards. I'm already okay with moving on with Zadarius. He's not playing as good as he was last year, and I honestly felt last year you didn't get what you were hoping for in Zadarius Smith. Look, Isiah McGuire is a player that certainly needs to be evaluated over the next 10 weeks. The Browns are going to have to make some decisions within that defensive end room. Zadarius Smith most likely won't be here, which means you'll have Myles Garrett, and then you will have players like Alex Wright coming back from injury. You will have Ogbonnaya Okoronkwo, who's shown he can be a nice role player, and then you will have Isiah McGuire. You're probably still going to need to add a significant edge rusher to this team, but you would like a better idea of where Isiah McGuire is going to stand within the pecking order. I immediately insert Isiah McGuire into the starting lineup, and I insert him into the starting lineup this week. I want him to get 50%, 60% of these reps. Ogbo, and of course, Zadarius Wright, if they are here, they can rotate in on the left and the right side, filling in for Myles and certainly filling in for Isiah McGuire. If Zadarius Smith is to go, you just bring up Sam Kamara from the practice squad. He can take some reps as well. But you really want to get the evaluation period going here on Isiah McGuire. He's really, in my opinion, starting to step up here. Probably getting reps that he wasn't going to necessarily slated to get. The team is playing poorly, which creates more opportunity for him. Also, Alex Wright's injury, season-ending injury, created more opportunity for him. But at this point, I think Isiah McGuire is a guy that should get more reps for this team on the defensive side of the ball. Also, I will make a change at defensive tackle. I will immediately start and continue to start for the rest of the season, Mike Hall Jr. Mike, it was your second round pick. It was the highest pick you had in the 2024 NFL draft. It's no disrespect to what the other guys are doing. Shelby Harris, not too shabby. But the Browns' future is not Shelby Harris. The Browns' future most certainly could be Mike Hall. So therefore, Shelby Harris can go to a rotational piece. Maurice Hurst can go to a rotational piece. Quentin Jefferson can go to a rotational piece. Also, if I can, and somebody is interested and I can get something that I think I can use in the future, I am interested in trading Shelby Harris. I am interested in trading Quentin Jefferson. I wouldn't want to just because I like Maurice Hurst, but if somebody has interest in Maurice Hurst, you certainly have to entertain the thought at this time. Also, with that thinking, I'm going to go to the practice squad, and I'm probably going to elevate Ja'Wan Briggs. A lot of people thought Ja'Wan Briggs was a nice piece coming out of Cincinnati last year. A lot of people were surprised that Ja'Wan Briggs did not get drafted until the 7th round when Cleveland finally took him off the board. Had a nice collegiate career. He's not an older rookie. He's only 22 years old, but you need to find out right away is if this is a functional piece and something that can help you down the road. I don't know if Ja'Wan Briggs is necessarily ever going to be a starter in the NFL, but at 6'2", 313 pounds, young, I want to get a look. Dalvin Tomlinson, still a pretty solid interior player, and the Browns certainly probably need him, although maybe they'll field calls on him too. We have no idea. But if I felt that strongly that I invested the top pick I had, the second round pick in Mike Hall Jr. in this draft, then at 1-6 and pretty much 99.99999 playing out the string at this point for the Cleveland Browns at 1-6, I need to get my young players on the field, and I need to get the evaluation period going. Also, you're going to look at the cornerback position. Look, there's no lie. Martin Emerson and Greg Newsome have not been playing their best ball. It's what it is. And it's not ideal. But, Cameron Mitchell, I would like to get some evaluation there. We'll see when Miles Harden is healthy. That was another day 3 pick from the 2024 class. But I would like to get Miles Harden on the field. I want to see what I have. Miles Harden in college was feisty. He was fierce. He's a tough SOB. Wasn't afraid to get his nose dirty. The Browns probably are going to have, thoughts about what they're going to do next year. The opposite cornerback number 2, hopefully Martin Emerson gets right here and it doesn't become an issue and they can just go in with Martin Emerson next year on the last year of his rookie contract. But I certainly want to see more of Martin Emerson as well. I would love to get, get more of Martin Emerson, but Martin Emerson improving. But I got to find reps for Cameron Mitchell, and I certainly have to find reps for Miles Harden when he is able to return from injury. Zach Zinter should be playing more. We'll see what the status is with Wyatt Teller, and it's going to be tough with Teller and Batonio. It's not like you can really trade either one of them. Guards aren't usually something that's really tradable during the season, but you really need to find a way to get more reps for Zach Zinter as well. The evaluation process on him needs to begin as quickly as possible as well. I don't need to see Michael Dunn. I need to see Zach Zinter. We're going to continue here on Locked On Browns. Appreciate y'all for sticking around. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns. Obviously, Jameis Winston, now QB1 for the Cleveland Browns. Also, what should be the beginning of a bunch of moves made into the starting lineup. A couple of moves maybe on the defensive line, certainly some secondary options to consider, certainly some offensive line options to consider. Appreciate everybody makes the show their first listen every single day. Become an everyday or subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. Hope you're enjoying this. Next episode, we're going to sit down with Kevin Ostreicher. I always look forward to the Ravens-Browns crossovers. I got to be honest, and you guys know I've always kind of been a little bit of a jerk on these things, kind of cocky on these things. Just not necessarily the case right now, with where the Browns are at. And, you hope the Browns can put together one good drive. It's kind of hard to believe they'll go out and actually win these games. So you're getting a much more mellow me on the crossover episodes. Make sure afterwards you check out Locked On NFL with Tyler Rowan. Come back in the afternoon. Go ahead and check it out. With Tony Wig, host Locked On Jaguars. He don't hold nothing back, man. He just does it. Former barber, worked in a barber shop for years, and his show definitely has a barber shop vibe. So you got the Ravens Sunday. Not ideal by any means whatsoever. That Monday night game, Ravens came out, they were cooking. Lamar Jackson, 5 touchdown passes, really strongly putting his name into consideration for league MVP once again. I didn't really understand the Derrick Henry move when they first made it. And look, it's worked well. Derrick Henry has had a great year. My thought process was when you talked about Ravens in the last couple of seasons was whenever time you talked about maybe an issue the Ravens had, it wasn't necessarily the running game. They always ran the ball well. And Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, the kid with Justice Hill, who I loved coming out of Oklahoma State, is becoming a really, really big factor for this team out of the backfield. They also have the speedy guy that got hurt last year. He had a great run against the Browns, got called back by penalty. He's not back yet, but that'll be another weapon that the Ravens will get. You notice there's kind of been a passing of the torch at tight end. Isiah likely is pretty much their dude now. Although Mark Andrews did catch a couple touchdown passes on Monday Night Football, much more of a reserved role and certainly a toned down targets share for Mark Andrews these days. We'll see what Mark Andrews is. Something where the injury was so bad last year, he's not 100%. Maybe he gets to be 100% in the offseason. Don't know, but Mark Andrews not the beast and the threat who basically lit up the Cleveland Browns every time you saw him over the last few years. Zay Flowers has become a phenomenal player. Bateman had a monster Monday night against Tampa. Lamar's just got it all cooking right now. So if you're the Browns, how do you go into this game with all that you're going through? 1-6, pretty much season done, buried aside of the road. Your quarterback, who everybody was fighting for to help him hopefully get through it and find it. Well, that's not even an option anymore. Those conversations are over. As Deshaun is slated for surgery on Friday on the Achilles. He'll have it performed by the Green Bay Packers team physician, looking at maybe a 9-month recovery. But I think we all think in our heart of hearts, we've probably seen the last time Deshaun Watson is going to put on a helmet and at least walk into a game for the Cleveland Browns. Just not sure how this is going to work. He'll probably end up either being the most expensive backup in the history of the NFL, or the Browns are just going to work something out with him where, basically, hey, you're going to get your checks, but, there's no need for you to come to work anymore. Entire awkward position that's going to be, but plenty of time to see how that plays out. But look, it's still the Ravens, and if you are the Browns, this should bring out what is the best inside of all of you. You want to go against the best, and right now for the AFC North, the best is the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not entertaining that 5-2 Pittsburgh Steelers team. Look, they're playing well, but the problem is going to be for Pittsburgh when they start going against teams like the Ravens, when they start going against teams like the Bills, when they start going against teams like the Kansas City Chiefs. Are you going to be able to match the quarterback play of these other teams? And I'm just not sure they're going to be able to pull that off. But nice mix. Hopefully you get a little bit more success out of Nick Chubb, as he returns after that extremely, extremely long layoff. Did get a touchdown on the board last week, which is a nice feel good for Nick and certainly for the fans and everybody in that building. So you're going to need to improve on the run game. There's no question about it. You're going to need to hopefully have Jameis go out there and just throw it. If anything, man, throw the damn ball. Don't eat it. And Jameis, again, is not going to be looking for his legs to create magic. He knows that is not the case. But he's going to go out there, and Jameis will throw it. If you call 50 pass plays, Jameis Winston will throw it 50 times. He's got a monster arm, a big, strong arm. He will throw it all day long. He doesn't care about that. And that's crucial because you're still evaluating Cedric Tillman. I want to see some Jamari Thrash. Can we do that, guys? I know, Elijah Moore caught a bunch of passes last week, but, Elijah Moore's in a contract here. Are you bringing him back or are you not? And honestly, if you are, just get that deal done now. And it'll make more sense to get the ball and the targets to Elijah Moore that you are. Otherwise, I want to see Jamari Thrash. We've got to get more targets for Jerry Jeudy. You brought him in here. You paid this young man well. Throw the ball more consistently to Jerry Jeudy. Yes, drop on Sunday, but I can't go an entire half without a target to what is now my number one wide receiver. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. Honestly, Jerry Jeudy needs double-digit targets pretty much here and the next 10 games. You need to know whether or not he is a number one wide receiver. I don't think he is. I think he could be a fantastic number two wide receiver for the money, but you need to have a thought on what is going to be the future for the guy that you just gave a nice fat contract extension to, and you need to know it by the end of this regular season. I am Jeff Lloyd. I appreciate you all who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. Again, times are tough with your Brownies, and look, when I took over the show, it was the toughest of tough times. I took over in 2017, covered an 0-16 season. So I know a lot of you people come here to flock, and maybe it is even to grieve, and we will do that. And we will give you millions of ideas about how we can improve this Cleveland Browns team. We will do that, I promise you. Become an everydayer. They are a bunch of filthy animals, but they are my filthy animals. I suggest you subscribe to the Locked On Browns YouTube channel. Become a filthy animal for yourself. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. Again, check out the doubleheader every day on Locked On NFL. You will get Tyler Rowan in the morning. He covers the Titans for us, so obviously he's as aggravated and agitated with things right now as I am. You will get Tony Wiggins in the afternoon, and Tony gives you great phrases like, well, my grandma wouldn't, and he is a trip to listen to. So make sure you check out all of those shows. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound, LGB on ELOB. Let's go Browns.